Hey pool players, hey Ron here. Welcome once again to the Pool Student Channel. Hey guys, I really thought that hustling pool was a thing of the past. Now I've heard of people, yeah, a little wager here and there, whatever. But today I saw it in action. Amazing. And it was fun to sit back and watch. I'm glad I was not the person that was playing the game, but to sit back and watch it was really cool. Let me paint this picture here of what went on. A few days ago, one of the local guys that I've been playing at one of the billiard halls texted me and said there's a tournament coming up over at Eastside. That's one of our billiard halls here in town. And he asked if I wanted to go and check it out. And I said, yeah, I do want to. I'd like to see some of the players and see how they are and, maybe meet a couple of them, whatever. So I met up with him over there. And sure enough, he knew everybody. He's been in the pool game for a long time. He plays on leagues and everything. So he introduced me to some of the guys, top two guys actually. Maybe even there might be others that I haven't met, but I think these were the top two guys, and maybe they are currently. One is Jason Kirkwood, and the other one is Oz. So some of you watching this that are from Michigan may know these names. But I also got to not meet him, but I saw him play, and there's a young guy. He's 14. His name is Parker. And I have my understanding that he won the junior championships out in Vegas nationally when he was 12. And so I got to see him play, and he took out one of the top players. I think that guy was ranked number 2 in the state at one time. Amazing, man. And the kid's just a super phenomenal player, okay? So got to see that. That was pretty cool, just to see that kind of talent at that young age. But that was fun, watching that tournament and seeing how the guys, concentrated and, how they shot and everything. And God, they made the game look so simple, right? If you can play that good, easy position, make easy shots and everything, it's a boring game. But it was just fun to see how they would navigate and maneuver around the table. But this is where it gets real interesting. One of the guys that was there is an APA 7 player, and I had met him about 3 weeks ago, and when I was watching league play, because I was thinking about doing the league thing, some of you know, and I was there. The guy that puts my Q-tips on my Q-sticks, he also makes pool cues here, and he's a local guy, and he's on an APA league. And this is one of his teammates. So he was there. And he remembered me. So we were chit-chatting and stuff about the tournament. And he had gotten bumped out. It was a double elimination tournament, and he got bumped out. So he was just watching some of the better players like I was. And while we were sitting there, an unassuming looking guy had come up to him. And I had noticed this guy before, but he'd never talked to anybody. He was just by himself. And he had some questions, and he was asking this guy I know about scoring in the BCA and how his ranking would go down, what would make it go down, because he felt he was around a 500. In hindsight, I think it was deliberate what he was doing. I think he was trying to paint the picture that he was a 500 player. Now keep in mind, this is an APA 7 that he's talking to. Now I don't know if he knew that or not, but I did. And an APA 7 is not, and those of you who are league players know that that's a pretty decent pool player, right? Well, the next thing I know, and this guy also had mentioned that he had got bumped out. He'd never won a match. And I got bumped out my first 2 matches. I never even, got past for any. I didn't win any. So I thought that was interesting. No, I believed him, whatever. But the next thing I know, the 2 of them are playing. And they're playing a set of, a race to 5. So they're over in a corner on the table. And okay, so I'm watching. And I had heard, let's just put it this way, that there's a gentleman wage, okay? And I had heard that. And so that made it more interesting. I was wanting to see what was going to happen. So this guy got on the table, and I watched him, and all I can say is, how in the world could this guy have gotten beaten in the tournament that he had just played? Now, maybe if he played the top 2 guys, the first 2 matches, that might be, because what I saw, wow. and I've seen a lot of play, okay? I pay attention now, and I have some knowledge of the game, and I was looking at things, it's like, whoa, holy smokes, this ain't luck, this is real. And he won the first set 5-1. And the first 3 games were like a breeze for this guy. I think he ran all 3 racks. I can't remember for sure how it went down, but it was about that. And I think he sensed that the guy I know was maybe getting a little discouraged, and all of a sudden he started missing. But his misses weren't that big a deal because what he is leaving was not easy. Very low percentage if you wanted to try to make it. And it ended up that the other guy, the 7, is trying to play safe all the time, and he just couldn't quite tuck the ball away. And this guy would make the great shot. And he would talk, okay? And it was then becoming apparent to me that this is a hustle going on right before my eyes. And it reminded me, and I'm going to reminisce a bit here, of a time when I was in the military back in the 70s. In 1974, I was in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I was in basic training. And I lived in the pool room. It was actually an AIT, so it was during our training period, but I was at the same post after basic. And I was in that game room every night playing pool. We had, I think we had 3 tables. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, but big tables too, 9-footers. And this guy was in there all the time as well, black guy. His name was Piggy. He'd go by Piggy. He was from Chicago. And he was a great player. I mean, he'd see me shoot, I'd watch him a little bit, but what I noticed was, he would play for money. And he'd try to get me to play, but I was a rookie. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, I could make some shots, but I didn't know the game. I mean, I was insecure. There was no way I was playing for money. And I watched him. Now keep this in mind that back then, guys made $300 a month. Okay, this was in the 70s in the military. And I watched him play this one guy, and it was like a sparring boxing match where he'd let him win one, and then he'd clamp down, and when it counted, he would win. And he took 300 from that guy in that one evening, and I thought, holy smokes, that's a guy's whole monthly pay, right? And I said to him alone one time after that, I says, what are you doing here, man? You could make bank if you were outside in the real world, hustling pool. And he goes, that's why I'm here, man. And I thought, aha, that's what he's all here about. So it reminded me today of that situation, because this APA 7 was being taken advantage of. He really thought he had a chance to win. And it was obvious to me sitting back and watching this, there was no way he had a chance. Let me show you a shot that I saw today that probably goes down as in the top 5 jump shots I have seen. And I have watched lots of video of pros during their competitions in these tournaments that make these fabulous jump shots. Cue ball, just off the rail, maybe by the first diamond. 9 ball, right by the side pocket. I think it was just past the side, so it really couldn't be made inside. 8 ball, down here, probably around just past the second diamond, almost on the rail. I mean, I couldn't tell. I was sitting over there like where the camera is right now, from that angle, and it looked like it was almost on the rail. It was an important moment because it was in the second set, and the gentleman that I want to just call him a hustler got himself in trouble. Now, I'm wondering if he actually got himself in trouble or wanted to make it look like he was incompetent on the table and it happened. I don't think so, because I think he had this shot all day long. The cue ball, he had shot his 7 and the cue ball drifted over and it got close to the rail like that. So he just goes over and grabs his jump cue, gets on the ball, lines it all up, studies it, lines it up. Pow! He shoots the ball in the air. It's in the air like, we're talking like up here. Comes down, boom, pockets the 8 in the corner, and it stops, freezes it right there. shoots the 9 in the corner down here, game over. That was the best jump shot I think I've seen, at least in the top 5. There's no doubt in my mind. I looked over at the 7, the APA 7 guy that's playing, and I looked at him, and he was like, he came over, he says, "You believe that jump shot?" I says, "I do believe that jump shot." I says, "You're playing someone that knows what the heck they're doing, that's for sure." He had gone up to get a Coke, and I talked to him. I says, this guy come here not to play this tournament. He came here to do what he's doing right now. And he goes, "Maybe, you think so?" I said, "Maybe. Yeah, I know so." And, I want to stay out of it, let them do what they want to do. I watched him play a couple more games. It was just obvious that this guy was just the rope-a-dope, man. He was doing everything purposefully, not letting the other guy get too discouraged, trying to let him see that he was vulnerable, where he really was just playing with him. There are some hustlers out there today in 2021, big time. And I got to see it. I got to sit right there at the side of the table, up close and personal, and see it in action. That was amazing to me. So I just wanted to share that story. If anybody else has any stories about hustlers that you know or have seen, that'd be cool to share back and forth. So we'll talk to you guys later.